welcome to Holistic Sight's video series on EFT. This video is about different ways of using EFT. Gary Craig came up with this process back in the 1980s, and since then many changes have been made by him and by others. New tapping points, they've stopped using some of the old tapping points that they were using. They used to use all the finger points. I'll show you where they're located. On the thumb, all fingers, it's on the outside, right in line with the edge of the fingernail, and you just tap right on the point. On the same with the index finger, right on the edge of the finger. You just tap, middle finger, ring finger, baby finger, and on the other side of the baby finger, which is why we do the karate chop. All these lines of energy go down the hand, so that you can even tap on the wrists to get those points, and on the front. And the reason why we don't really tap on the fingers anymore is they realize that when we're tapping the points on our body, we're stimulating the finger points. So it's recommended that we use as many of the finger points as possible. So like on the eyebrow, instead of just using two fingers, as it's the standard, with the normal basic recipe is the two fingers, you can use all your fingers and go right across the brow like that. Or even under the eye, you can use them. Almost anywhere you can use all your fingers, and you stimulate them. If you use both hands, you're stimulating that. The more points you stimulate, the better you get the release from the EFT. And you can still use the points on your fingers as well. Some people start at the top of the head, work down, and then end at the top of the head. So there's a lot of different ways of doing it. You can tap in any order. You don't need to go from the top of the head down in that sequence. If you tap on the shoulder, the collarbone, and then go under the eye, and then the top of the head, and then under the arm, it doesn't matter. You can go in any order that you feels right to go. If you notice that one particular point seems more sensitive, or you have more, maybe even pain, or just intuitively that feels like the point to stay on that point as long as you care to stay on that point. If it seems like for the whole time that you're working on it. I have had some clients that do that. They just stay on the one point the whole time that they're working, and it works fine. I do suggest more points, but if one point seems to come out and seems to be the one to do that one. And again, sometimes breaking it up in a different order helps release and jar things, the stress out. If you're in a meeting, or you're in a group session, or in some way you don't want, there's other people around and you want to be inconspicuous, there's ways of like tapping, maybe like this. And you might even notice, wow, some people do these intuitively, not even realizing that they're doing EFT. You might even notice that you've tapped on things on your body and not even realize you were stimulating. There's also, you can tap on your fingers under the table, or even with one hand you can tap on your finger points, and be very nonchalant about it. No one would even notice you're doing it. You can use a pen, or tap with your pen or pencil while you're doing it. And there's another point that I find extremely powerful point, but it's not used very often because it's in kind of an embarrassing spot, especially for females. But it's the liver point, and it's located right under the breast, in line with the nipple, in line with your bra strap on the underneath here, and you just tap. And the liver point, which this point is, you can do either side, doesn't matter, or both sides, or cross side, just like anything else. The liver point holds anger. So I find this point is an extremely powerful point to add in. Again, it's not considered part of the normal recipe because of the location of it. And most points, because they're all joined together, you get the energy from it. But if you're feeling especially angry, that's a good spot for you to to probably focus on, or at least add to your routine. People ask me when the best time to do EFT is. My answer is any time and every time. You can't do it too often. It's something that you can do anywhere, any place. Like I said, if people are around, you don't have to say things out loud. It does benefit you more if you do, but if you can't, then it's better to do it than not. And you can do it inconspicuously. And there is another point where instead of the karate chop, there's a point that's called the sore spots. And it's when you make your setup statement of, even though I have this stress, I deeply and completely accept myself. Instead of tapping on the karate point, it's about 2 to 3 inches down on your collar, on your chest, down from your collarbone, and over about 2 or 3 inches. And if you feel around in that general area, you'll find some spot that's sore. Almost everybody has, the spot is sore on just about everybody. Everybody has a spot, but it's sore on just about everyone. And you want to rub those, not tap them. So it's called rubbing the sore spots. So you do this and you rub and you say, even though I have this stress, whatever the stress is or whatever the situation is, anger, pain, whatever you're working on, I deeply and completely accept myself. And you do the same thing the 3 times while you're rubbing these sore spots. I recommend the sore spots versus the karate chop. I do the karate chop because that's considered now the standard, but the sore spots to me seems to move energy. I don't know. Well, you try it yourself and you see. I like the sore spots, and that's what I originally used. And again, I want to show you how EFT is done by the majority of people, and that's why I use the karate chop. But I suggest you do the sore spots. There's also something called surrogate tapping, and this is a little bit different. It's when you're tapping for someone else, to benefit for someone else. Say you have a young child who you don't want to go and tap on, who might get upset if you tap on them, or might be sick and you don't want to tap on them because it might irritate them more. Or you have an animal that doesn't really want you to tap on them. So you can tap on yourself for them. That's called surrogate tapping. So you pretend and you imagine that you're that child or you're that animal. It works for any kind of animal, horse, dog, cat, whatever it is that's you feel you want to work on, or that's having some issues that you want to work on. And you pretend to them and you kind of imagine what their issues are. Or you might even say, even though I have this sickness, maybe your animal or your pet is sick and has a condition or something, you might want to just tap on, even though Rover has a pain in his side, whatever it is. And then you just tap, pretending that you're that animal. It seems to work very well, so if you care to try it, try it. As Gary Craig says, try it on everything. Use EFT as your basic tool for healing. And again, remember that I don't know if EFT actually heals anything, but what I do know is it releases stress and it releases anxiety, and that alone could allow healing energy through. So even if it's something that you don't see any way, any possibility that EFT can work, it worked for me for my physical pain from fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue. So it's just, try it on everything. Do a web search. You'll find how other people have tried it on probably whatever it is you're thinking it won't work on, and it worked. So this video again was to show you that there really is no wrong way to do EFT. Do it in any sequence. Do it in any order. Do just one. Do the sore spots. Do the liver point. Do the wrist points. Do the finger points. Do whatever. Just do it. And again, I appreciate any comments, any questions that you have. Go to my website, holisticsite.net, and leave me a comment. And I thank you for allowing me an EFT into your life.